Welcome to July 2026. I am Everett Curdy and I want to welcome you to your monthly horoscope for your Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. This month we have a lot going on. We have the Star of David configuration between the two minor triangles between the outer planets, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. We have Jupiter, sextile Uranus, trine Neptune, opposite Pluto. We have Uranus, sextiling Neptune, and trine Pluto. Then we have Neptune, sextile Pluto. So we really have a lot going on in the sky in regards to that. We also have the Cancer new moon, which is about nurturing home and family. We have Mercury retrograde, which could really put us more introspective to focus on our own life and our own experience and our own way of being that is very introverted. And then we also have the nodes changing signs into Aquarius and Leo, which is more humanitarian versus from the ego. So a lot going on this month. I do discuss this more in depth in the previous video on the overview, the collective look about July 2026. You can check that video out in this podcast. But so anyway, in this episode, I'm going to be getting into the, the astrology for your Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. I'm going to be breaking it down for each individual sign. So if you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, you can go to astro.com and put in your birth information to be able to find that information out, so that you know what your Moon and Rising sign is. In addition to your Sun sign, we also know our Sun sign. I'm not advising you with these videos to do anything that's not right for you, to say anything or to go about in any direction in your life that's not right for you. You do what's right for you. You take with this information what you will take from it. That's what I want to say, because this is all for your contemplation. This is all for your consideration. This is not an action plan for you to take action on. Could be if you hear something, you're like, I gotta change this in my 6th house area of life, or in my 12th house, or, whatever. I'm not going to list the houses, and I'm not going to list the areas of life. But the houses are the areas of life in astrology. So in this area of my life, I can change this. This is a general reading. I don't know your life. I don't know your specific birth charts. I don't know your transits. So I'm going to do the responsible thing and not make these claims about you, about, say, this full moon in Cancer for Scorpio falls in your 8th house. So I don't know what that could mean. I really don't know. But I'm not going to say that, because I've heard astrologers do the 12 sign forecasts using the whole sign house system, or whatever house system they use, Placidus or whatever, and I haven't resonated with any. Well, maybe very slightly, little slivers, I guess. I don't know. I mean, basically, I haven't resonated with those readings. And I'm not attached to accuracy. I'm not attached to you resonating with this and finding it accurate. I am attached to giving meaningful readings, and I am attached to maybe putting ideas in your mind, give you things to think about that may or may not resonate with you. If it resonates, claim it. If it doesn't, then, oh well. Maybe just be curious, just be open, just be interested to what I have to say. That's all I ask. And, and if you wish, you can, watch all the signs if you so wish. Personally, I find these videos way more interesting than what astrologers give. That's my personal opinion. You might agree with me. But I want to hear in the comments section what you thought of your reading, how it resonated with you, how it made sense for you. So anyway, let us begin with Aries first of all. So for Aries, now Aries is very, very driven toward the path, toward the direction, toward the way of going about its life, toward the way of being and the way of exploration with where it's going, with what kind of direction it's going down. And so, maybe you were going, what was that? Sorry. Maybe you were going along on a certain path, achieving things. Maybe you were going about your life, viewing your life, finding your life in certain ways, putting it out in certain ways. And you're like, I found this to not be the case. And now I'm going along a certain path. Now I'm doing certain things. Now I'm taking action on certain things that I want in my life, because Aries is the action-oriented sign. An action-oriented sign that initiates, that gets things going, that takes action on what it wants. And it's not afraid to take action. Like, it will not sit on the sidelines and wait for others to take action for it. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need to check in with anyone. It just does things without any permission whatsoever. And this is a beautiful quality with Aries. This is a very, very courageous, bold quality. And I feel very positive about this quality because it's courageous. It is very decisive. And, you want to be bold. You want to be decisive, during this particular month. However, you may be in the process of reviewing certain things. And it's okay to allow for the review to be present with you, to allow for the review to be there, to allow for the review to be in your hands, in your life, in your own system. And so now, with the Mercury retrograde happening, this month, in a sign that's square to your sign, which may, if you have anything from 26 degrees to 16 degrees of Cancer, or any of the other cardinal signs, like if you were born, I would say between, I'm just going to list some dates out for you. I give my permission to do this. April 6th through April 5th through April 16th. I'm just listing those dates out for you. I mean, if your Aries sign, for example, your birthday falls between those dates, then Mercury is going to be squaring you in terms of your sun sign. This may be a little bit difficult for you. May force you to really look at your life and see what areas need to change, what areas need to be rearranged, what areas do I need to look at, and look myself in the mirror and go, this has got to change. This has got to be analyzed and reviewed and reevaluated for me. So now the new clarity could come online for you. Now new clarity of, like, I didn't see this before. I didn't expect this before. I didn't think of this in this way before. I didn't think of this thing in these terms before. That could come about for you. And so you could easily change how you go about doing things. You could change how you go about doing what you want to, in your life. You could easily change, how you, how you go about your goals, how you go about what you want, how you go about your desires. This could be really, really huge for you. the approach that you use to go after these goals and desires could be very, very different for you. Or if it feels right, if it feels right to you, Aries, then change what you're doing. Maybe you're doing something and it's like, I don't feel this is aligned with my soul and my heart, so I'm going to change it. I mean, I am an Aries sun. I'm very, very aligned with doing these videos, so I'm going to keep doing them. But, just be flexible and be fluid and be open to change and be open to bend like a bamboo and be open to knowing that, if this thing is not working out for me, I have the permission and I have the freedom to make a change in my life with whatever thing that resonates for you. I don't want to, inspire you to do anything uncomfortable with, but I don't want you to be stuck and, confined either this month. So also, make sure you show patience during this time. Make sure that you show patience toward others and stretch your fuse, because Aries can easily have a short fuse. It can react very, very quickly. It can get mad really, really quickly. It can get irritated. It can get frustrated if it's not mindful, if it's not aware of itself. It can really, really, this sign can really, really react quickly, and it can almost be like with an Aries, you're walking on eggshells with an Aries. So understand the difference between healthy conflict and unhealthy conflict. Unhealthy conflict isn't fighting, screaming over each other, talking over each other, not hearing each other. Conflict may involve disagreement, may involve the two sides fighting up against each other and rubbing up against each other. However, healthy conflict is where you're hearing the other person, where the conflict is talked about rather than fought over, and the two are diplomatic and fair and just. And we want to use the opposite sign of Libra, your opposite sign of Libra. And so instead of the fighting, instead of the reacting, choose to approach conflict in the way of being really, really diplomatic and being very, very open-minded to hear the other side and open-minded to hear all of that going on. So, being able to stretch your, your ability to just, your tendency to just react so quickly. And, maybe new clarity come in regards to this. Maybe new clarity like, oh, I've been really, really reactive. Oh, I've been very, very, just really, really, this Mercury retrograde could be like, because Cancer is a very, very moody, emotional sign. So maybe it could be seen like, oh, wow, I've been so reactive. I've been so, irritable. And so I need to work with myself and heal myself and be in my, own security and work on this with myself. And then this Mercury retrograde in Cancer happening for the first 23 days of the month. Really, Mercury is in Cancer for the whole of the month. With Mercury in Cancer for all of the month of July, you're being asked to not go out and achieve something unless you first lean into the vulnerability required to make it happen for you. What you want to do is you want to feel. You want to feel your feelings, Aries. You want to feel all these feelings. You want to be vulnerable, having the courage to speak about these things without judgment. Should not be too proud to speak about your emotions. Not be too proud to really, really lean in and feel and have a pride. And I think that this pride is tense and it's tight and it needs to be swallowed, to where humility, openness, looseness, and honesty with yourself, a soft exhale. I can breathe easy. I'm leaning into my feelings. I'm being honest with myself. That kind of spiritual energy is really what you're being asked to lean into this month. And you're being asked to integrate, really, really integrate, what needs to be integrated. I mean, if there's something, in your life that is really, really topsy-turvy, that needs to be brought into some kind of balance, and that needs to be put in the handy for you. So, integrating all that needs to be integrated when it comes to whatever pieces of yourself that you are ignoring, whatever pieces of yourself that you are putting aside and not looking at, in regards to, how vulnerable you are, in regards to how open and feeling you are, and willing you are to really, really feel your feelings, and, to go there, really. So, it's really about integration. It's really about, bringing these feelings into some kind of whole state of being, and really going in that direction. So then Taurus, moving on to the second sign of the Zodiac. The question for Taurus that I want to pose is, how have you overprovided for others in the past? Because Taurus is the provider. Taurus brings home the bacon. Taurus brings home the the meat, the money, all these kind of things is what Taurus brings in its own self, in its own life. And so, how have you overprovided for others in your life? And how have you overgiven? How have you, overextended your energy? How have you overgiven the material world and not set boundaries? Saying, I'm not gonna give you 4 shillings an hour. I'm not gonna give you 2 pints apiece. I'm not gonna give you all these things that I'm not going to keep providing for you if you don't appreciate what I have to give, and if it is keeping me from my own personal sense of peace, my own personal sense of well-being and stability within myself. So Taurus, it's about really, really looking at where are you overextending yourself, where are you overgiving, and how is this affecting you on an emotional, spiritual, psychological level? Because this could really, really affect you in very, very deep ways. It really, really could come down to that. And this kind of thing where you feel like, you have to, where it's about prioritizing your peace. Prioritizing your peace, prioritizing well-being, and not depleting yourself of your own inner resources, not depleting yourself of your energy or vitality. And maybe really, really looking at how your material circumstances with, your life, and I know that you really, really crave stability, and I know you really, really crave the same things and the same ways of being. But this month invites change. So you're being asked to let go of how these things stifle you, these things hold you back from really, really, rebelling and being an individual and being strong and sovereign within yourself. And so, how, in what area of your life do you need to rebel that the material security has held you back? It could be maybe in your home life, your 4th house, your home and family life. In that 4th house area of life, maybe your home and family has kept you back, held you back because of having to provide for your home and family. Maybe it's your groups, your friendships. And maybe in those group and friendships, you have over-provided, over-given. That could be a possibility. I mean, whatever makes sense for you, whatever resonates for you, I want you to take it. And, so how is this need to rebel, really, sort of eating away at you? Like, I've got to rebel. I've got to break free. This is holding me back from my own soul's expansion, from my own soul's freedom, from my own soul's liberation. And how do you need to let go of this limiting circumstance to really, really find something more whole and more open and more freeing for yourself on a soul level. And then finally, the focus here is on nurturing your body. Because Taurus is about the body. Taurus is about the physical body. And Venus will enter Virgo this month. So, with the Cancerian energy, the Virgo energy, really nurture yourself. Nurture yourself on physical level. And therefore, when you nurture yourself on a physical level, you also nurture yourself on an emotional level. So, really focus on nurturing your body, really eating right, getting the right supplements, getting the right nutrients, eating the right kinds of foods, making sure it's really healthy for you, etc. So it's really important for Taurus. Now moving on to Gemini. Gemini, how have you been over-concerned about what other people think of you? Been over-concerned with other people's business, what other people think of you, and really what they think of you isn't really any of your business, Gemini, what other people think of you, really. Maybe you've gotten so afraid of what other people are going to think of you in your close circle, in your friend group, in your, in that kind of collaborative group that you share. So maybe, you need to do your own thing. Maybe you need to break out of this and stop caring so much what other people think of you. Because Gemini is so much about the mind, so much about others, and connecting with others and socially interacting with others, that it really values relationship, and it can get overly enmeshed into that kind of trap of the fear of the kind of, the paranoia possibly of what others think of it. So that's one thing, is to break out of this fear and let this fear go and just say, well, this fear is going to be here, but I can choose to put this aside and focus on doing my own thing, focus on going my own way and living the life that I want to live for myself. And then really asking yourself, like, I want to ask you, Gemini, how realistic are your ideas? How realistic are they? That you want to see out in the world? How realistic are these ideas for what you put out in the world, with what you want to act in the world, with your communication, with your, your intellect and everything along those lines? And so are your ideas very freeing, very spontaneous ideas? Because Gemini is a very spontaneous, airy, intellectual sign. So, how, but Gemini can get so caught up in that, like Mercury. I was doing a video on Mercury square Saturn and Sinistry. So the Mercury person is very spontaneous, has all these ideas, and the Saturn person was like, how, going on a trip to Spain. That doesn't make sense. We don't have enough money for that. We don't have, enough resources for that. So, but Saturn is really knocking on your head, because Saturn is going retrograde this month on the 26th of the month. And during this whole Saturn retrograde, you're being asked to look at how realistic are these ideas for you? And are these ideas very freeing, spontaneous, as I've listed before? Can they actually be implemented on the practical level? Can they actually be implemented on the earthly level, on the material level, in the logical plane of existence? Making a practical application of these ideas is really important. And and the other thing is, what do you wish to say from your heart, Gemini? What do you wish to truly say, not from your head, not from your logical mind, but from a place that I feel this is my truth to say, this is my own personal sovereignty to say this, this is what I truly believe, this is what I truly want to say, and darn it, I'm going to say it. It's like, what do you wish to say from your heart, from your own heart and soul, what you really want to say, and of what is really, really coming out at you, with what truly you want to say on a heart-centered level, with what your heart wants, with what you truly feel, with what you feel is true for you, Gemini. So that is really, really huge for Geminis this month. Now, Cancer. Needs to focus on, anyone with Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising needs to focus on their roots. They need to focus on, what sustains them, what nourishes them, their home life, your family, all these emotional foundations that give you a solid sense of self, a solid sense of security, that with like home should be a place where you hang up your hat. And so do you feel like your home is that place? Do you feel like your home is a place where you can easily hang up your hat and, be true to yourself in that way, and be honest with yourself, and really, really be grounded and have all these foundations really, really strongly? So, do you really feel like you have a strong sense of self with these foundations? Like, these foundations are giving you a strong sense of who you are, a strong sense of identity with who you truly are, Cancer. So that's really worth noting. First of all, is focusing on what sustains you, what grounds you, what brings you back down to earth, etc. But then you want to look at how the safety net is holding you back. Then the next piece of this is looking at how all those roots, how all those foundations are holding you back, Cancer. How is this all holding you back? Like, how is your family holding you back from becoming the person you want to be, in the way of self-expression, in the way of what you want to let out of your system? And where do you want to express yourself? On social media, for instance, on in art, for instance, or to certain people, to your friends, or to form certain friends, or to get together with certain people, like in terms of relationships that you want to form, long-term relationships. It could be a multitude, if that's even a word. I'm just saying it is. A multitude of different things. And, how is family holding you back from living in this kind of quality when it comes to, when it comes to what you want to express with yourself? What you really, really want to let out of your system, and be very, very big and bold and loud in that kind of direction. So, really, really looking at the self-expression element of your own life, and how family is keeping you from self-expressing yourself, from expressing yourself, from being very, very big, from being very, very open and bold and whatever. And then, it's very, very important to ground yourself, Cancer, during this month, because the Sun in Cancer, the New Moon in Cancer, Mercury retrograde in Cancer, all this emotional energy could leave you feeling drowned out by the emotions, drowned out with what you may be feeling on the emotional level. You may be feeling all these feelings, but then it just may really, really drown you, really, really keep you stuck and all that kind of thing, and in the emotional pattern. So you really, really want to look at how you can ground your energy at this time. You can ground your energy, with what you're doing, with how you can, with how during this time you're getting, these emotions are just drowning you. These emotions are like the tide pulling you under, and you can't seem to navigate, you can't seem to rise up from that and find a lot of calm and feeling centered and feeling grounded inside yourself with all these emotions. So how are you getting drowned out by the feelings? How are these feelings keeping you from your sense of self, your solid center, feeling grounded, etc.? So that's also what I invite you to consider. Now, Leo, Is your home inside yourself, Leo, inside your body? Think about your home inside your body. Is it a fiery place of passion? Do you feel filled up? Feel, like some people say filling instead of feeling. I don't understand. That's just not grammatically correct. To say that, and I'm not going to certainly get into the habit of saying filling. Filling and feeling are two different things, okay? So, do you feel filled up enough to truly express yourself? Do you feel like you have enough nourishment? Do you feel like you have enough, nourishment and resources and energy and vitality to really express what you want to express, Leo? That's what I ask you. That's what I invite you, is to really consider. Like, do you feel filled up in your body? Like, can you really express and go after your heart's desire and express your passions, express your creative energy? Because you feel filled up enough of that energy in your body. You feel sustained. You feel nourished. You feel plentiful of that energy. And so, if you don't feel that, then do things to restore, replenish yourself. Do things to take care of yourself and, fill up your cup with making sure that you can express your heart-centered desire and really, give to others in the kind of ways that you are giving and open and, willing to share and all those kind of things like that. So then, it's time to show your generosity. It's time to really, really be generous this month and let yourself shine. Express your heart's joy. I mean, whatever you want to express, whatever joy that you have in your heart, whatever creative passion, creative interest, or creative area that you want to express with your, with your generosity and being very, very generous, being very heartfelt and, open with that kind of thing. It's time to express that and let that out. And then, the other thing about Leo is it holds true to its beliefs. That's another thing that's so interesting. A little nugget that you may not know about Leo is that it holds true to its beliefs and its principles. So does your partner share similar beliefs as you do? Do you have these certain beliefs? Do you have these certain set beliefs of what you truly believe, of what you truly feel so strongly in your heart and soul, but then your partner has really, really different beliefs. Your partner believes all these different things that's very, very different from yourself, and what you believe, and these certain principles. You believe that the ash trees should be cut down. The other believes that the ash trees should be sustained, or whatever the belief is. It's just an example. I mean, in 7th grade, I had the thing that I did with a debate over that, actually the last day before Christmas, and that was a really, really tough year. A lot of hard work went into that year. It was a challenge for me, but I really, really worked through that and achieved that challenge. I feel so good that I did that. So, but does your partner share similar beliefs as you, or do your beliefs conflict with one another, where there is disharmony in the relationship? Where there is really, really a lot of disharmony in this relationship, because the two of you are just fighting about your beliefs. The two of you are fighting because you have these certain beliefs and the other has these certain beliefs, and you're just competing against each other, and you're not finding happy medium. You're not finding happy grounding and happy meeting. You're meeting in the middle. You're meeting together, and you're forming a simpatico with with your beliefs. You're getting along. You're collaborating. You're finding something in common that you both share. Finding a common belief that the two of you share. That I believe these different things and you believe these different things, but this is what we do share. Kind of like a Venn diagram. Like the two sides are. Like with a Venn diagram, you have 3 circles. The one in the middle, there's 2 to the side, which is the differences between different things, and then how they're similar, how they combine is that middle circle. So where can you form the middle circle on the Venn diagram? How can you form the middle circle on with coming together and forming a synergy with the belief that you have that you and another person share? So that's the invitation here. Now with Virgo, with Virgo, you want to look at this month. You want to focus on your long-term goals. You want to focus on your long-term goals. Saturn's going to go retrograde this month on July 26th. So that's going to really ask you to evaluate the long-term goals that you have. So focus on your long-term goals that show up in your everyday life. Your everyday long-term goals that we have going on in that life. And it's about looking at the habits. Looking at your habits, and are these habits sustainable, Virgo? Are these habits really going to sustain you and hold you up in your own life, and really keep you afloat in your own life with with what you are doing? So really looking at how looking at your goals, and do they reflect your habits, and do your habits reflect your goals? And what kind of habits do I have going on in my life, and are they helping me to achieve my long-term goals? Maybe losing weight, so I need to do things in the gym to help myself lose weight, for example. Or, just being very, lazy, not putting in the work. If I want to write a book, then you have to be ambitious and be willing to sit down and write chapters of that book, for instance. Whatever the goal is, really look at your habits during this month, and really look at, are they working out for me? Are these habits healthy? Are these habits, and Venus will be in your sign, so that'll be activating you very strongly. It'll be conjunct your sun, moon, and rising sign sometime between July 9th and August 6th. So that's the period of time when Venus is in Virgo, so sometime Venus will be conjunct you, and that's going to ask you to focus on how you show up in relationships, because Venus is the planet of relationship. But but can you look at your habits during this time, and look at how your habits are working out for you? And what is your heart saying that your logic brain isn't? Because Virgo can get really stuck in the logical brain, that you need the sort of gun load of the hamster wheel. The radio dial of that, the AM radio or something, whatever, of a logical thought. So, because Virgo is a really logical sign, it uses logic, and while this can be good, you don't want to be so logical. You don't want to be so much in the logical mind, so much in the left brain. You're missing connection with your right brain. That you're missing connection with your heart brain. If you could even combine the heart and brain together. So, where do you need to connect with your heart? Where do you need to drop into and in with, your heart energy, Virgo? So, where do you need to, really, get into your heart, get into your soul, and really connect on that level with yourself, connect on that very deep level with yourself. Connecting that way. And surely there is something creative that you want. Surely there's something creative you want to express, Virgo. Something creative that you want to express, with what's on your heart, what's your heart saying, what's your heart really saying, what's kind of the dialogue that your heart is whispering to you. Maybe your heart is screaming this out to you. And, maybe your heart is saying something that your mind and your intellect is saying, no, this is not right. I don't want to do this. This is not this is not the way to go. So, now it's about, tuning into your own heart and your own soul at this time, and following the dictates of your heart. And, does the partner, does your partner in your life, whomever they are, do they have their stuff together? Do they have all their ducks in a row? Do they have all their, their life together, with what they're doing? Do they have it all organized, mapped out? Are they self-sufficient, or do they low maintenance? Can they really care for themselves, or do you need to cater to their every need? Because Virgo's the need, Virgo tends to cater and help out wherever the need be. Like, here, where can I help you? Where can I serve you? Where can I? And Virgo tends to serve and serve and serve and serve, and not really take care of itself, and not really being in roles where they are a martyr, where they are just taking care of the other's needs, and the other's physical needs or mental needs or emotional needs, and it really, really exhausts them. And so, where do you need to be with someone who has their life together, who is organized, takes care of their own stuff, takes care of their own details? And that's what I invite you to really, really inspire and empower, and talk with the person about their self-sufficiency. And if you're with somebody who isn't self-sufficient, do that. But if you're somebody who is self-sufficient, then embrace those kind of qualities with their self-sufficiency. So then, Libra. Now, Libra is a really, really artistic sign. It's a really, really creative energy. It's deeply creative. There's a deep creativity. There's a deep artistic quality with Libra, that it has all this art and all this aesthetic and all this beauty and all this stuff that it decorates its life with. So, the question is, are you allowed to express your artistic talents? And do you feel worthy inside yourself to express your artistic talents, to express what you have to offer to the world in that kind of way? When it comes to, your artistic, endeavors, are you allowed to be your artistic self, be your, open self when it comes to the artistic expression of what you have to give? And, So, are you allowed to, express these things and let these things out? And is the relationship holding you back from being yourself? Are you in a relationship where you feel stifled, where the relationship with the partner is seeming to have a trap on you, seeming to have a hold on you, seeming to, keep you from being who you want to be, and being your free self, and being your independent, authentic self? And this partner seems to condition you and restrict you, and you have to watch their movies, you have to play their games, you have to do what they like instead of, do what you like, go to the restaurants that they like instead of what you like, and eat what they want, not what you want, and wear what they want you to wear. Like, Libra can get so open-minded, so too adaptable, where they're so adaptable that they can lose sense of their own sense of sovereignty and self, as they wrap it all in the other person. They wrap all of their identity and their own personality and who they are into the other person. So how is this relationship keeping you from being who you are? And maybe now is the month to break free from that hold that this partner has on you, and to do your own thing. And to and to do your own thing this month, and to break free and express yourself the way you want to, go the direction the way you want to, do what you really, really want to do. That's kind of what I'm kind of inviting you to consider this month. It's like, how a relationship's holding you back from what you personally want. It's in your heart that you want to achieve. And so then, you may find with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, with the Sun in Cancer, with all this strong Cancer energy that I was speaking about on that collective video, you can go check out if you wish to. You could, you may look back at the past really, really easily, because Cancer is really, really nostalgic. It has a tendency to want to look back at what went on in the past. And so you may get caught in nostalgic qualities. You may feel very, very nostalgic looking back at the past relationships. Maybe you were stuck in a negative relationship, where this negative relationship pattern really, really hold you back in, a lot of ways. And so maybe now you are releasing this and getting out of the negative relationship. Well, maybe you're in a relationship where you can't get out of it, but maybe you may find yourself reflecting back on your past relationships, on your past experiences, past interactions, past encounters with other people. And it's okay to look back. You're being invited that it's okay to look back at the past and reflect back so that you can feel a sense of goodness, that you can feel a sense of happiness and peace. And I think that this nostalgia will give you a sense of peace when you do indeed review this and when you really, really lean into this labor. So anyway, Scorpio. Now, Scorpio, how can you show up with loyalty? Scorpio is a deeply loyal sign of the zodiac. It is deeply loyal, and it cares so much for those who are the closest to you. Scorpio really, really has deep loyalty, deep devotion to whom it loves, deep devotion to who's going on in its life. And the ones that are closest to you are the ones that you most value, Scorpio, because you really, really value those who are the closest to you in your in your energy. So how can you be very, very loyal toward those that you like, those that you're devoted to? As I've said, I keep repeating myself here, sorry, but because I don't like repeating myself, but yeah, who are you most devoted to, and how willing are you to show up for these people in your life? I mean, that's what I really, really want to ask you on a deep level. And how can you heal yourself on emotional levels, Scorpio? How can you heal yourself on a feeling-based level? Because Scorpio is a sign that really, really feels a lot of dark feelings, really feels a lot of dark emotions, and it can really, really feel all these feelings really, really strongly. And this life, it is working on healing itself. It is working on taking care of its own life. And so Scorpio is the healer. It's a sign that, and Scorpio is the healer to others. It can really, really help others through the darkest moments of people's lives. And it has great healing powers. It can tap into what the person's feeling. And I would say Scorpio is a deeply compassionate sign. And but this sign must be secure enough to take care of itself, because when Scorpios are really, really insecure, they can be kind of vindictive, kind of mean, kind of cold, kind of cut you off, really, really manipulative, leaning into the more shadowy aspects of Scorpio. Can get into the drama and other people's business and this and that. You can fall into the shadow side of that sign. So how can you look after yourself and take care of yourself and heal your own self and heal your own life this month, Scorpio? Because this is a month of healing. This is a month of deep emotional healing. This Mercury retrograde is really, really asking you to heal a lot of things and look at your emotions and do all of that. And I discussed deep, dark emotions with you. I believe I discussed that in your Mercury retrograde horoscopes that are out in this podcast, if you so wish to check them out and hear what those horoscopes, what is in what the content of which is in those horoscopes. Because I believe I talked about deep, dark emotions in that. So you may be going through a lot of deep, dark emotions this month, and there is this need to heal. So then the final thing this month is to ground. Ground into your body, as opposed to escapism. And I want to talk about escapism, because I think that escapism, that you get out of grounding and finding a sense of security and sense of peace within yourself, because you feel so insecure that you try to look for a way out. So you try to get into the mysteries of things, dig deep, get to the bottom of things, go at something really, really intense, get into the underground areas of life, I want to say. Very, very underground, under the ethers kind of thing. So, this month is really, really asking you to ground into your body, and asking yourself, do you feel safe, and secure inside yourself enough to be and embody this kind of quality? Do you feel, secure enough inside yourself with this kind of thing going on with you? And, if you don't, it's time to ground. It's time to take care of yourself, in order to really feel peaceful. Because your opposite sign, Taurus, says be peaceful, be grounded, be centered. And you can really lean your opposite sign, Taurus, for the more gentle qualities of living in the light, not living in the dark. Because you don't have to always live in the dark. You can move up into the light and focus on nourishing yourself and making yourself feel so secure, connected to the earth, connected to your body. So that's for Scorpio. Now for Sagittarius, do you care too much about what others are going to think of you, Sagittarius? I want to ask you this because Sagittarius wants to be free, wants to follow its soul calling, and you go after, it's about where you are, going after what you most want, going after what you most, desire, for your life, and so. This is, really about, caring too much about what other people think of you. So that you're so up into their minds that you're not being free to do what you want to do on a soul level. You want to explore, you want to take on in the world. So, that is the first thing, is about liberating yourself from this feeling of being trapped, this feeling of not being free, this feeling of being connected with your soul, and not being tied down to the limitations of what others want from you. And when you're not connected to your soul, when you don't feel safe and secure to express your own ideas, to live out the life that you want to, when you feel restricted, you can easily get out of your soul and into your ego. And then you can become self-righteous, thinking that you know better than others, thinking that your ideas and your intellectual ways of going about the world and approaches and style is better than other people's. Is better, is more wise, is more smart, is more intelligente than other people. And, where your tendencies of thinking and your philosophy and your knowledge over life, where you feel that it is superior to others, where you feel the sense of superiority, where you project the sense of superiority onto others with thinking that you know better than them, that you're smarter, that you know what's right and they don't know what's right. There is no one right path. There is both, and we live in a life of both, and we live in a life of duality where there are multiple things and multiple paths that are right. Your opposite sign, Gemini, asks you to consider the duality of life and the multiplicity of life, the multifaceted life that we're living. So, really consider, when you are up in your ego and you are really self-righteous and really egoic and just really acting from that place where if you're dropped into your soul, you can be knowing your own truth, being very sovereign, but the soul is open, the soul is expansive, the soul is loving, so you can be open to others' perspectives and ways of being, like the soul is considering others. When your soul energy, it's a natural thing to consider other people. So that is what I want to say with that. And then do you stay fenced into a particular place and structure because you're afraid of breaking free, Sagittarius? Sagittarius can be really stuck into this thing that because of this fear of being free, of this fear of getting out of this, of this fear of liberating itself. So how can you break out of this this trap that you're in when it comes to this place you're in, this tough, tight structure you're in, where you are fenced in, where you feel like you're trapped, where you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you're not free, etc. So this is about breaking free from that and really liberating yourself from these structures that inhibit you. Now, Capricorn, this is a big month for you because your ruling planet, and by the way, the Sun, Mercury, and the Moon will be in your opposite sign this month. So you'll be getting an opposition if you were born, I want to say, between, let me just do the math real quick here. So I want to say from, okay, so just give me a second here. If you were born between January 6th and the 16th of the month, Mercury may be opposing you by sign, by opposition. Mercury is going to be opposing you because it's going to be moving backwards from 26 degrees to 16 degrees. So if you have your Sun between 16 degrees and 26 degrees of Capricorn, you're going to receive an opposition from Mercury. So so that may cause you to really look at your opposite side, like maybe you've been overworking yourself, maybe you've been needing to focus on your emotions. But Saturn is going retrograde, and Saturn is in Aries right now, so it's teaching us all about, inspiring us all about authenticity, being our true selves. So can you review if your goals are sustainable or not, and where you haven't put in the work to make these goals a reality? Where have you not put in the work to really make the goals true for you? That's really worth considering is where you haven't put in the work to make these goals true and a strong reality for you in your life. As I keep saying, I keep repeating myself. That's the first thing, is because Capricorn is about long-term goals. So if you're at a goal that doesn't have stable foundations, and maybe you can't achieve something for the long term unless you're nourished emotionally, unless you're nourished on an emotional level. So it's about coming back to yourself, nourishing your own body, nourishing yourself on an emotional level, and then you can build something for the long term, something sustainable in that kind of a way. So, and then it's about, and this dialogue of like, I'm the only sane one here and everyone else is insane. This was actually said by Capricorn on Dance Moms Season 6. So this tendency of thinking that you are above everyone else, that you have the logical mind, you have the rational mind, you have the the sane mind, you have the logical way of thinking about the world, and everyone else doesn't have this. that you know that you are rational, practical, pragmatic, etc., and everybody else is below you. And there's a tendency for Capricorn to make others feel like crap because they're not as logical and rational and and just pragmatic as they are. So this kind of I guess this arrogant quality can come in with this sign. So releasing this tendency of feeling like you are above everyone else, like coming down on people from a top-down way, because Capricorn is top-down. The shadow side of Pluto in your sign is like top-down authority figures. So let other people follow their own inner authority. Don't try to control them. And that you are preaching truths, and you are coming down on people with these truths that that are so ingrained with you. But how can you share the truths and not project and impose these truths onto others with this rational, logical truth that you have? And then don't be afraid to do the work that you love, Capricorn. Because the Sun will be in Leo, Jupiter will be in Leo, the South Node will be in the sign of Leo. So it's really about not being afraid to do what you're passionate about, do what your heart is calling you towards, do the work that you're devoted to doing in your life. Do the work that in your soul, in your body, in your way of being, you are truly devoted to. You are really, really driven towards that work. And so what are you passionate about? What are you committed to? Now, Aquarius. Aquarius, if I can stutter already. You're really, really patient. Incredibly patient, incredibly fair, open-minded, etc. And so can you accept and love others? You are incredibly charitable, you're incredibly open, you're incredibly kind and accepting of others, and open to others, and incredibly friendly, like you're incredibly people-friendly. You are a people person, that you are accepting and patient with others. And so use this to your advantage, especially around the Mars-Uranus conjunction on July 4th, because there can be a lot of irritable and patient energy around the United States birthday. And I will be discussing the Mars-Uranus conjunction in depth in other videos, but just to say that there could be this feeling of impatience with this aspect, and we need to be more patient with others around this time, and love others for who they are, really. So, and then the other thing is, like, how have you just went along to get along? How have you, we're needing to break free from the cage that society has placed upon you, in regards to this specifically. So how have you, just went along with the herd, and blended in with the herd, and did all this stuff, and not, being free to go your own way, do your own thing. And so, can you get lost in the fantasy of your utopian, there's this tendency to get, lost in this fantasy that you have of your, utopian ideals, what you feel is really ideal, for a better world. And so you're so caught in these fantasies and these grand visions and these whatever, that you're not grounding into your body and grounding into reality. So how can you ground into the here and now, And actually, if you want those ideals to become reality, how can you make them reality in the physical, tangible world? How can you implement them here and now? And be grounded in practical, in the 3D, with these higher ideals, higher up ideals that you have. So that's that thing with Aquarius. Now moving finally Pisces. So maybe the veils of confusion for you at this time, Pisces, will be lifted. You'll gain more clarity over the things that you didn't previously have clarity over, because Pisces can be really, really foggy, really, really unclear as a sign, really, really caught in the illusion and the mystery of it. So you'll probably be more clear about your dreams and your visions. You'll probably be more clear about what you envision for what your life with having to do with your beliefs, having to do with your philosophy, having to do with what you truly feel in your heart that you want to have implemented and have in a reality in your life. That you're going along and you're like, I'm confused. Like Pisces can say, like, I'm confused. I'm in the clouds. I'm unclear. I'm foggy. I'm in the mystery of it. And Pisces can really, really be confused because it's an energy. We're in the void. When we're in the void, we're not clear on our own sense of clarity about our own lives. And so maybe you can become more clear when this Mercury retrograde comes, and clarity will be arriving to you in one way or another, whether you like it or not. You'll receive clarity. I think that why wouldn't we all want clarity in our lives, right? We all want clarity. So clarity will be arriving, so expect clarity. And maybe keep a dream journal by your bed to jot down what you dream and the unconscious messages for what's going on spiritually, with your dreams. And and maybe not only your dreams at night, but also your dreams and aspirations, like writing down your dreams and affirmations and aspirations and manifesting them in a journal. And the key is not to keep yourself small, but to write out these big, massive things and not be afraid to go big and put no realistic limits on what you're doing. So it's about coming, then the next thing with Pisces is coming back down to earth. Coming back down to your body, focusing on your health, focusing on, your own well-being, focusing on what makes you feel secure in the earthly realm. What makes you feel secure? What way of being, what habit pattern. I discuss habit patterns with your opposite sign, Virgo, because Venus is going to be opposing your sign between July 9th and August 6th. So the focus is on what makes you feel grounded and secure and nourished in the earthly realm, in the practical realm, Pisces. So, how can you come back down to earth, in regards to this? And so the other thing is to be discerning. Be discerning about what you put in your body. Because you can easily put very, very negative substances, very, very negative things, very, very unhealthy foods and nutrients in your body that are not healthy for you, which are not nutrients. Pisces can overindulge in food and overindulge in things like drugs at the low level, at one level, but if you're a Pisces that has that negative habit pattern of indulging in drugs, but it could also be, other kinds of elements that you do, that you engage in with yourself. And so it could be that you put this into your body, and what can you be discerning? Like, I know that this doesn't work for me in my body. I know that caffeine makes me restless and this and that. I know someone who put out a video recently about caffeine and making changes, maybe cutting down on caffeine and all that's, being very, very discerning about what you, and who has a Virgo moon, Mars in Virgo, Lilith and North Node in Virgo. So a lot of Virgo energy in this person's chart. And so, so how can, what can you do with being discerning about what you feed yourself, what you put into your body on a physical level? That way you're feeding yourself with the best nutrients, with the best things, with the best, things that you want to put in your body, that you truly care about yourself. And you truly care about yourself by putting the best, most nourishing things inside of your body. So anyway, that is what I want to say for Pisces and all 12 signs for July 2026. This is the astrology report, the astrology look and deep dive into your individual signs, into your sun, moon, and rising signs. So I hope that you found some value and some insight from this video. And if you did, you can hype it if you're doing, you get three free hypes a week. And you can hype this if you so wish to within the first 7 days. So I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to subscribe, do all the things that they say on YouTube to do. But really, it helps grow the community. It helps grow the channel. And so I really, really like you to become part of this community by really, really helping to get this content out so that more people have access to this information, so more people can see and that this information is more visible to more people. So, because I want to spread the word out with what I'm doing with these horoscopes as much as possible. Anyway, so I would encourage that. Anyway, I will see you on tomorrow's episode, which hopefully you will not be hearing the sound cut out because Mercury will be stationing retrograde tomorrow. So if it does, oh well, I'm not doing it again. But I don't think it's very, very likely, at all. But Mercury is stationing retrograde, so that's why I mentioned that. Tomorrow's episode will be on the Jupiter-Chiron square happening July 1st, the collective look at it. And then the 12th sign look will be on June 30th for the Jupiter-Chiron square. I just hope that video and the sound is going to be, there. That the sound is not going to cut out. If it does, then take what you can in the video. I'm not going to do the video over again because it doesn't work out. So I never do videos over again, ever, 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 ever. So that is what I want to say. Anyway, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Cosmos Sky Podcast. I'll see you tomorrow. Or whenever or see you next month if you tune into these monthly forecasts.